Hello everyone, and welcome to Series Part 2 Boss Strategy Guide. Today we'll be covering Act Bosses 4 through 7. If you happen to miss the last video of Part 1, 1 through 3, don't worry, I'll have a link at the very end of the video. With that being said, let's get started. Alright, so let's go ahead and start off with Damien. Damien is the Act 4 boss. The thing you need to watch out for the most with Damien, until you get him to about half HP, is his blood beam. His blood beam is ridiculous, it does a lot of damage, and the only way to dodge it is to stand at like diagonal points from his left, right, whatever. You can see it on the screen. You have to dodge the blood beams diagonally. On top of that, he will send out mobs and skulls and stuff like that to attack you. They can do damage as well, so watch out for them. It looks like the mages and stuff that he summons have a chance to send out arcane beams, so you have to watch out for that. As you can see, his head is floating around, so once you get him to a certain percent HP left, he will drop his head and his head will attack you. And his head does hurt, so definitely watch out for him, because he does bite. After you get past the first phase of Damien, you'll go through the portal, and it'll take you to the second stage of Damien. This stage is the most crucial stage because it's the easiest one to die on. So, as soon as you spawn Damien, it's just going to be his heads on this space. His heads are going to try to fly up to you and explode. Some of them don't explode, some of them just try to bite you, but you want to watch out for that. On top of that, besides the main stage that you're standing on, all the other platforms will disintegrate underneath your feet, and even if you have flight, you'll still die. So don't fly over top of the spikes or stand on the platforms when they're going off, because there's a good chance you're going to die, and there's no way to change that. Once all the platforms have been busted, however, you can change your pattern and fly over top of the spikes. If you have flight, you won't die, but I tend to just stay on the main platform, and I feel like there's no reason to have to fly over the spikes. Just for the hell of it, I decided to see how many heads I can gather in one spot. So, let's see. Alright, looks like I hit the max amount of heads that can spawn on one stage. And tried to get them as close to me as I can. Alright, I think I should probably just end it. Taking way too long. And there's Damien. Second, we have Act 5 boss. Act 5 boss is Carp King. Carp King is located underwater, so every once in a while you need to stand on top of the bubbles coming from the ground just to get your air back. Carp King has a ton of different moves. First, he starts off with spikes, which are actually traps, so they do trap damage. Next, he'll throw out a bunch of puddles and stuff that if you stand in, you die over time. And then he even has some type of Kamehameha wave like off of Dragon Ball Z that he tries to hit you with. All of them are pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie. He does some hard damage. But that's why I recommend, before taking him on, you decide to up your level cap a little bit, get some decent gear, and then just kill him really quick. There is no reason why you can't insta-kill him. You just have to have good gear and do some high damage. Alright, so in Act 6, we have Satan. And Satan is pretty straightforward. He has only like 3 or 4 moves. And the first thing you have to know is you have to kill his hands first. If you don't kill his hands that appear on each side, you won't actually damage him whatsoever. So once his hands are dead, he'll start spitting out lava that you don't want to stand in. He'll spam a firewall that you can stand right down the middle if you want. Not too hard to evade that. And then he'll just spam a bunch of mobs every once in a while from the sides that will come through the portals. And there you have it. Satan, pretty easy. Nothing really to worry about. You could shoot him from range if you want. A little bit harder to kill with melee unless you have skills that can do a little bit of range. But besides that, I mean, pretty easy, straightforward, nothing really to worry about. Alright, last but not least, Act 7, Mevius. I decided to speed this up because this battle is a little bit longer than the rest. So he starts off by just spitting spikes everywhere and throwing out 4 chains. As you can see, he takes no damage at the beginning. How do you get past this? Well, if you break all of the balls that are connected to the chains, that will enable you to do damage. So you want to run around and break the balls. After that, he'll stop spitting out spikes and he'll start throwing out some mobs. These mobs can do something that's kind of like bullet hell, which is where they spit out a ton of orbs at you all at once. Definitely don't want to get hit by all those skull orbs because they can do some heavy damage. So if you can, I would say definitely go on the attack and just try to finish off Mevius as fast as possible before he can even spawn the mobs. That is if you got past the whole chains and spike ball part. So once you get him all the way down to 0, he'll die. But as you can see, his soul flew into the wall, so now you have to fight him again. So the ground starts breaking, balls start flying out from the walls, and he just starts spawning a bunch of mobs. After this, it's pretty straightforward. You can just attack him over and over again and kill mobs. That's about it. You don't want to walk out over top of the spikes unless you have flight, because then you'll insta-die. But since you beat the first part of Mevius, the second part of Mevius is a piece of cake. And that's all you have to it. And that covers the act bosses. Thank you guys for watching part 2. Stay tuned for part 3, where I take on the Uber bosses.